Have all of you in the Transfer Center seen an advisor? Anybody here not seen an advisor in the Transfer Center? Okay, you need to, and here's why. This is the best Transfer Center in the state. How do I know? Everyone who works as an advisor in the transfer office is a previous UC or Cal State employee. I have 19 years with UC. So my point is, when we advise you, we are giving you the very best information. This is the only transfer center in the state that has 5 advisors. Walk-in, 5 days a week, no appointment needed. And when we give you the information, I tell students all the time, you're in the 99% range for admission. You're in the 70% range for admission. I need you to apply to other schools because it's close, but I don't know. We give you advice that doesn't come from a lot of other schools because we've previously worked for the systems that we're advising you on. In fact, to give you a quick side tip, the personal statement, you guys have all heard about the personal statement you have to write? By the way, they added or changed one of the questions this year from last year, that Berkeley and UCLA always read the personal statement. The way I'm going to word it for the other UCs have the option, wink wink, of reading it. Even at UC San Diego, I was in a presentation 2 years ago. They're the 3rd most competitive UC. And I asked the question, and her answer back was, we have a choice of reading it. Will they? About a 10% chance, maybe 15%, could be 20. I'm just going over this because I don't want you to think that for the other campuses that your personal statement's going to make or break your admission. Probably isn't. I'd like to point out that the schools we're going to talk about today for the guarantee are offering a guarantee without a personal statement. You think they're going to bother reading it later on? Probably not. So, I'm just making a point. Again, you're getting information that you wouldn't usually get from other campuses. All right, now for the tag. It's 6 UC campuses. Now let's go over some of the information. It's 1 campus. It is not binding, meaning we want you to also apply to all the other schools you're applying to. All the other schools. It is not certain. Now, yes, it is a guarantee as long as you follow through with the coursework. But it's not binding. You don't have to go to that school if you don't want to. But we want you to apply to the other campuses even if you do get a guarantee. If you receive a guarantee, you have to apply to the campus in November. So let's say you apply to UCI for a guarantee. And you hear back from UCI for the guarantee. You still have to fill out the regular November application and put UCI on it. All right, makes sense? So you know you have a guarantee, you still have to apply with the regular application in November. Just to note, the November app is open now. It opened August 1st. The tag app won't be open until next month. Everybody got that? All right. Now, when you're talking to these campuses, you've got to make sure, 1, that they have your major, 2, that it's included in the guarantee. If you look on this chart, we're going to talk about it later, excluded majors. You see they're on the cover? Make sure your major is not excluded. We're going to go into detail about this later. Meeting selection criteria. This is a big one, guys. This is why I want you to talk to the representatives at the college fair. You have to. And here's why. Are all of you familiar with assist.org? Okay, good. For some of the campuses, you don't have to have all the courses from assist.org for your major to get admissions. You don't. Now, Berkeley, UCLA, we kind of assume everything from assist has to be done. But I'm letting you know that that's part of what I want you to do at the college fair on the 27th, is talk to these people and say, hey, are all these courses needed to get in? See what they say. Sometimes they'll give you hints as to what you need. Sometimes they'll say clearly you need this and this from assist to be considered for admission. Now, here are the campuses that offer a guarantee. You notice San Diego is not up here. UC San Diego has no longer had a guarantee as of 2 years ago. Although when they did have a guarantee, it was a 3.5. So, you have to choose one campus. And again, like I said earlier, we're going to go over requirements. If you meet the criteria for a campus, great. If you don't meet the criteria, then don't apply to that campus for a guarantee thinking that's a maybe. It's not. You have to meet the criteria. I want you to choose another campus if you don't meet the criteria for that campus that you prefer. Majors excluded. I did have a chance to update this. You can see it's a column. I got the information directly from this column. There are certain majors excluded. I'm not going to go into detail about this, but I do want to bring up one very important point. How many of you are applying to business at Irvine? Business administration. Anybody? Okay. They don't guarantee to business. So I don't want you guaranteeing to economics at Irvine. I want you to choose another campus. Here's why. Your tag major has to match your first choice major. So if you put business on your application for Irvine as your first choice and economics is your second choice, it's easier to get into the economics major, your tag would be useless because if you guaranteed to their campus for economics, it's not your first choice major. Does that make sense, everybody? Your first choice major has to match your guarantee major. So then I would say guarantee to another campus. Other campuses that have exclusions? Santa Cruz, none. Riverside, because there's a portfolio needed. They can't do a guarantee for studio art. And certain majors at Santa Barbara. Now, if you're wondering if your major falls within creative studies, go talk to Santa Barbara. It's actually a very unique major. Units. You have to have 30 transferable units by the end of this present summer. So as of right now, today, you have to have 30 semester transferable units. Some of the campuses will include, did anybody here go to high school here? Okay, AP units. Sometimes they'll include AP units in this, sometimes they won't. You have to talk to each campus. I would like you to have 30 semester transferable units done without AP. If you have to use AP credit from high school, a 3 or higher on the AP test, I want you to talk to the rep when they're at the college fair to verify. Otherwise, you should have 30 semester transferable units by the end of this last summer to be eligible. Next, you have to have minimum of 60 semester transferable units by the end of spring 18. If you have attended a non-CC campus, has anyone attended anything other than a California community college? If you have, I need you to talk to the representative from your school that you're applying to. Because if you've been to a university, there are complications that can occur, not all the time, but sometimes. So if you have California community college only, you're fine. Very easy. I need to cover something. There's a misunderstanding about something about the unit count. Has anyone here heard that you have to stop at 70 units? Someone said that to you? Good, because you don't. Here's how it works. Let's say you're looking at UC Irvine, and now it's next year, and you send your final transcript next summer. When that transcript arrives at Irvine, in one office, they're going to enter every transferable course. Regardless of the unit count, they're going to enter into their system every transferable course from Pasadena. In a different office, let's say you have 90 units. Is that past 70? Yes. If you have 90 units, here's what's going to happen. Because technically you're past 70, when they're giving you credit at Irvine to graduate from Irvine from Pasadena, when they're giving you just unit credit, they're going to cap the units at 70. Because if they gave you 90 or 100 units, you'd be almost a graduation there, right? You have to have space in your schedule to finish their courses, right? So that 70 unit cap for community college courses only, actually lower division courses, has nothing to do with the courses. on the other screen. You got credit for all of your courses. The UCs never take away coursework. They only take away just the units, not the courses. Yes?
What if you're double majoring?
If you're double majoring, that's a good question. First of all, it's not certain. You need to talk to the campus at the college fair. How easy is it? If it's two majors that are in the same area, like psychology and anthropology, okay, same college, probably pretty simple. I would suggest you do major prep for that other major. That shows them that you're serious. If it's a different college, like biology and anthropology, those are two different colleges, it's more difficult. So my advice to you is talk to the rep and see how easy it is to declare a second major. You can always minor. You could have 2 or 3 minors. You just tell your advisor at the university that you can do a minor, that you'd like to. But ultimately, dual majors have to be approved if it's 2 colleges by both colleges. So there's no guarantee for dual majors, but you can minor in almost anything.
So what you mean is like the GPA will all count?
Good question. When you enter UC, it's a brand new GPA. The GPA from Pasadena is only used for admission purposes. Yeah, fresh start. So you have a start at 4.0 there, you get a 4.0. If you already have a 4.0, you're starting off fresh. Grade point average. Example, if we're looking at Irvine, it's a 3.4 GPA for all majors. What does that mean? It means if you're at a 3.29, actually a 3.39, you could still apply, they probably won't approve it. Let me explain something. Your GPA for UC is a bit unknown. When you're looking at, have you guys seen Lancer Plan on your, if not, come by the office, we'll show you where Lancer Plan is. Lancer Plan is on your Lancer account. There's a part that shows all of the 1 through 99 courses and that GPA specifically. I do not want you looking at your GPA and your transcript. Very important, because your transcript GPA many times includes all of your coursework. On Lancer Plan, and we will show you, come by the office, Lancer Plan shows your GPA specifically for the 1 through 99 courses. But here's the catch. That's not your UC GPA. It might be, but it may not be. Let me explain. The Cal State system accepts all of the 1 through 99 courses. UCs accept about 80% of the 1 through 99 courses. Not all of them. So when you're looking at your Lancer Plan GPA, I want you to use it as a reference, but it may not be your exact GPA. Now, if you know all the courses you've taken, 1 through 99, are UC transferable, then the number you see on Lancer Plan is accurate. But if you think maybe a certain course, like example, I believe UCs still have the rule if you have 2 business law courses, only 1 business law course counts. There's an asterisk next to it on assist, it'll tell you. Then you would only count 1 of those courses in your grade point average. Just gives you an idea. So we're talking about GPA. If you're close, I still want you to apply for TAG. All right. So I want you to refer to that column where it says by major. They're one of the simpler ones, Irvine. Another example, Riverside. It's a 2.7 for College of Humanities and Social Science. It's a 3.0 for engineering. It's a 2.8 for natural sciences. But it's a 3.5 for their business major. It varies depending on your major, depending on the campus. All right, enough about that. Follow the sheet on the paper as opposed to this. This is just a rough idea. Now, English composition, very important. Irvine, and technically Davis and Santa Barbara, need English 1A done by the end of this last summer. If you have English 1A planned for fall of 2017, you cannot apply to the guarantee for Irvine, Davis, or Santa Barbara, because for the guarantee, you had to have it done this last summer. Now, for regular admission, it's fine. For regular admission to those schools, it's okay. But for the guarantee requirements, you had to have English 1A done by the end of last summer. The other UCs allow English 1A to be done in the fall. But if you see the asterisk here, Davis and Santa Barbara also want critical thinking and writing done by the end of fall 2017. Everybody catch that? Davis and Santa Barbara want critical thinking and writing completed by December. So for those two campuses, and you had to have it done. If not, choose another campus. Now, all the other campuses allow critical thinking and writing to be done next spring, spring of 18. That's fine. But this is only for English 1A, by the way. This is English 1A. The next one is actually critical thinking and writing. And you can see Davis and Santa Barbara want critical thinking and writing done by fall 17. Spring 18, all the other UCs allow it. If you're doing it in summertime, you're not qualified for UC anyway. You guys know you have to have all the requirements done by the end of spring. Okay, very good, very good. Any questions about any of those combined CS? Yes?
Is that 1B?
It's, well, here, that's a good point. No, it's 1C, Philosophy 25, or Physical Science 2. But I need to cover another topic. If you're not doing the IGETC, English 1B would get you into a campus, but it would not fulfill the guarantee. English 1B fulfills the second English composition requirement for UCs. But it's not a critical thinking and writing course. English 1B is not a critical thinking and writing course. So here's how it would work. If you had only English 1B, when you went to that other UC, you'd have to finish their critical thinking and writing before you graduated, because you didn't come in with a critical thinking and writing course. Make sense? So English 1B will get you into a UC, fulfill admission. It will not fulfill the guarantee requirement. But if you do that, you have to take a critical thinking and writing course after you arrive at the UC. All right, next, the math requirement. You have to have the math requirement done. That's basic math, by the way, not the one for your major. Basic math, of course, beyond Algebra 2, college algebra, statistics, Stat 50, Stat 18, there's a variety. Anything on the IGETC math had to be done by this December. So if you have your math course planned for spring, that's okay for regular admission, but for the guarantee, you don't qualify. All right. Certain majors require major prep to be done. That's also a column on your sheet. I'd like you to follow the column on the sheet. And let's see where that would be. So go by this list as a rough idea of which majors you may have to have major prep to get done. But please, at the college fair, print out assist.org for your major for that school. And walk up to the table and say, here are the courses I'll have done by the end of spring 18. By the way, major prep for the guarantee just has to be done by the end of spring 18, not at the time of writing the tag. And verify with the representative from the school that the courses you're completing would fulfill the tag requirement. All right? So this is a little bit loosey-goosey, meaning it's not specific. I'm going to give you an example. Santa Cruz, Davis, Irvine. Those three campuses publish on their website the tag requirements as far as coursework. Come by and see us. We'll show you where it is. It's very straightforward. Santa Barbara, there's a tear sheet. We have the sheet in our office. It's not the newest one, but we can help you with Santa Barbara. And you can tell you which courses you have to have for the guarantee. Merced, talk to them at their college fair table because I don't know where it is on their website. I haven't recently looked. And Riverside actually publishes very clearly what you need on Assist, but we'll go over that. But as far as their own website, it's Davis, Santa Cruz, and Irvine have a special tag website telling you exactly the coursework you need for the guarantee. By the way, if they don't list coursework, then you don't have to have it. to get in. I'm going to show you an example on one of the later screens. For one of the other schools, example, Riverside, for business, they want all 7 business courses done by the end of spring. And you may have to have 4 or 5 of those done at the time of writing the tag. I'm not sure on that one. They may have changed the requirements. So again, major prep for certain majors may be required to write the tag. Come talk to us first, and then talk to the rep at the college fair to verify this, because this is important. Now, as we're going over all the major prep, many of the UC campuses also use that list for regular admission. So even if you don't have it done for the guarantee, if you can get it done for regular admission, that'd be advised. So example for UC Irvine, a lot of the time their tag requirements are also similar to what they use course-wise for regular admission. Like I said earlier, August, the regular November app is open. The tag app has to be in by the end of September. By the way, it's not first one there wins. As long as you get in by the end of September, it's good. November is when you send the regular application. You could have started it back here, you just can't send it until November. Then January, very, very, very important. The UCs will ask you to do an update. Very important, guys. When you fill out the tag application, when you fill out the November application, I want a brand new email. Because if you miss one email, that can be it. Happens all the time. So, a fresh email used for all the colleges you apply. When you check that email, take off your spam filter if you have one, and you can see all the college emails. That way you're not going to lose them in your other emails, because some of you get 20 or 30 emails a day. So, a special email just for applying to colleges. You'll get actually 2 emails asking to do the update. On the update, you're going to give the UCs your fall grades and reconfirm your winter and spring course plans, because they may have changed between November and January. Make sense? Once you do the update, the UCs will then work your November app. Not until then. By the way, this update has to be done in January. If you don't get it done in January, a few of the campuses will allow the 15th of February at the very latest. That's only if they want to make an exception. But for the most part, the update has to be done. The first one has to be done in January. If you don't, they may toss your app out. Now I need to go over a topic that's very confusing, but I'm bringing it up on this slide. It's going to confuse some of you. Now, 4 of the UC campuses won't even look at your tag app. What? Why did I fill it out? In fact, I'm going to show you on here. I just found this out. It used to be 3, now it's 4. No to Irvine, no to Merced, and then no to Riverside and Santa Barbara. Well, how does that work? This part I need to explain. I'm going to use again Irvine as an example. Irvine will not look at your tag. They will look at your November app. And when they evaluate your November app, after you do your update, as long as you meet the tag requirements, the 3.4, courses needed to get in, then your tag continues. If you don't meet the tag requirements, you submitted a tag, but if you don't meet the tag requirements with the November app, then they're going to go back and look at your tag app and find out what changed. Because you thought you had a tag in September when you submitted it, but when they evaluated the November app, let's say your GPA fell to a 3.3. Okay. Irvine actually uses your fall grades for the tag. I've heard most of the other UCs will use the GPA at the end of summer. But my point is, some of the campuses will not give you an exact answer. here's the deal, guys. By November 15th, all of the UCs should have gotten back to you about your tag. By November 15th. Usually it's between November 1st to November 15th. Well, if Irvine isn't reviewing your tag app, what are they going to send you? They're going to send you an email that says, "Thank you for applying to tag. As long as you meet the tag requirements with your November app, your tag will be continued." Make sense? So you may not get an exact answer from Irvine, Riverside, Santa Cruz, and Merced. They'll simply say, "Thanks for applying to tag. As long as you meet the requirements with your November app, you're good." Make sense? So now Davis reviews the tags. What was the other one? I take that back. It is Santa Cruz that reviews the tag. So Davis and Santa Cruz, you will get a yes or a no from them by November 15th. Now, guys, let's talk about changes. First of all, after you send your tag app in September, there is no updating. So if coursework changes from the time that you apply in September to the time you apply in November, it may or may not void your tag. What's Greg talking about? Here's the deal. Let's say between September and November, you change one of your spring course plans. If you change out a general ed course, Psych for Soc, the UCs are probably not going to care. It's a GE course, who cares? But if you planned on completing a major prep course in the spring, and then you, in the November app, can't get that course, or if you don't take that course, that voids your tag almost automatically if it's a required major prep course. Make sense? Let me give you an example. The slide that I misplaced on here, it's Irvine. They state that you needed, for economics, a 3.4 GPA, you have to have calculus 5A, 5B, and you have to have micro-macroeconomics, all B grade or better. Not a B grade average, B grade or better. So if you get a C in any of those courses, this term or next term, you're done with your tag. But if you have those, then your guarantee continues. So, again, reviewing. For winter or spring course plans, if they change after you fill out the tag app in September, if you change out a GE course, they probably aren't going to care. Big deal. But if you change out a major prep course, it could automatically void your tag. Now, could you still get in? This is another point I like bringing up, guys. You still might get in without having that course through regular admission. It just means your tag is void. Make sense? I talk to so many students who just automatically assume they're not going to get in if their tag changed, coursework-wise. Not necessarily. They may still choose to admit you. I need to share another topic, guys. The UCs in the last 2 years have been told to grow, increase their numbers. Most of the campuses have chosen to increase transfer numbers. What does that mean for you? It means regular admission might be easier to get into than it used to. This last spring, just to note, this last winter, application time, 2 of the UCs opened. They haven't opened in 4 years in spring or winter. Finally, they opened because they needed more students. So I'm letting you know for regular admission that things are getting a little easier for some of the UC campuses because they need students. Believe it or not, transfer students are sought after. They have plenty of freshmen. But when it comes to the transfer numbers, some of the campuses are looking for more students. So keep that in mind when you're applying for admission. Now let's go over this slide. There's the website. You should still apply to other campuses even if you get a guarantee. You are going to put your spring courses, your winter and spring courses on the application. Please make sure you do that. That's actually the number one mistake people make. They put in their fall courses, they send the app in. A nice UC campus will give you a chance to update. Berkeley and UCLA, you don't put your fall, your winter and spring grades on, who knows what they're going to do with your app. So we have a lot of UCLA people and UC people helping you out. So if you have any questions, come by and see them before you would email Santi so he doesn't get a bunch of emails when you could have it answered in person. The advisors are here 5 days a week, typically after about 11 o'clock till closing. So till 6:30. Walk in anytime you want. Let's see what else I can suggest. Please make sure you apply broadly. I get so tired of the Berkeley, UCLA students. I don't care if you're a 4.0 with all the major prep. Berkeley and UCLA can reject you. It happens. 3.5s get in. And that's because Berkeley and UCLA use everything on the UC app. Volunteer work, leadership roles, the personal statement. Berkeley and UCLA will look at all those things. Other UC campuses have a choice of looking at those things. Any questions? We went over a lot of information. We talked about English, we talked about math, we gave you the rough GPA ranges. We told you they're giving you a guarantee without a personal statement. Any questions at all? Yes?
Winter session grades?
They don't have any effect on your admission. Now, let's talk about that. I've heard a UC campus answer this question. I didn't feel the answer was correct. The update website actually stays open until the end of March. So after you do your first update, in February, you could do another update with your winter grades. Will they use the grades? They're not supposed to, because everyone's supposed to be evaluated with the same. Any other questions? These are good ones. Anything at all? Has anyone here done the planner, the UC planner, which all of you technically should have done? Here's what I'm going to advise. We didn't talk about the planner. By the way, you can just Google UC planner. It's not a big deal. You have to do the planner before you can submit the tag. Technically, the planner is the tag. Once you finish the planner, and then the submission button for tag appears next month, it's just a few questions, and you send it. So the planner, Google UC planner, that is actually the tag. You'll just answer a few questions when you submit the tag. You don't have to fill much out. When you do the planner, you put all your courses on all the way through next spring of 18. When you're filling out the November app and you get to the part where you enter the courses, it will ask you, do you want to import your courses from the planner? Click yes, all your courses import right over. Now there's one catch. Your attendance dates. Let's say you started PCC August of 2015 and you're going to finish June of 2018. You have to put on the tag, on the planner, and the November app the same dates. And then it will import. We had some students making errors where they put May instead of June 18 on one of them. Well, if your attendance dates at PCC don't match between the planner and the November app, it won't import. All right? Now, even after it imports, I want you to proof it and make sure all the courses are there. It should be. And yet your winter and spring courses are accurate because something may have changed during that time. Make sense? And you can also change your winter and spring course plans during the update. So if something changes by then, and you can make as many changes as you want. Let's say your schedule changes again late February. Please go back in the planner and make the changes. Because later on, when you send that final transcript, like I said, previous UC employee, we get the transcript. We will literally go to the computer screen, look at your app, and scroll and make sure you entered every course exactly the way it appears on your transcript. I didn't mention this earlier, guys. When you're doing the planner, entering your courses. When you're doing the November app, if you choose to enter your courses there, you have to put all of your courses, transferable, non-transferable, no thinking. If it's on your transcript, it goes on the app. Because technically, if a course is left off, and I want you printing out your transcript, your unofficial transcript, I want you printing it out. I don't want you toggling between screens, trying to enter the coursework. So if you miss one course, and if it was a critical course, Berkeley, UCLA, there goes your app. Because your transcript later on did not match what was on your application. Now, if they feel the error was by mistake, let's say it was just a general ed course, you just missed it, they might be forgiving and say, hey, you know what happened here? Explain. But when you send that final transcript after being admitted, they will literally hold it up to the computer screen, scroll your app with your transcript at the same time and make sure all your courses were entered exactly the way they appear on your transcript. All right? Otherwise, any other questions? This has been great. Yes?
I was doing the planner, and on there it has like a list drop down where you select the courses.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed that like the courses that you do that are non-transferable, the 999 level courses aren't on there. So
Scroll off the page. It doesn't make any sense. I know it drives me crazy. I wish I had put it at the top. Scroll to the bottom. It says, I do not see my course. Click here.
oh,
Great point. When you're entering your non-transferable courses, they're not in the pre-populated menus. They're not transferable. You have to scroll off the page. When you see I do not see my course button, click there, a box opens, and you enter it all manually. If it's Math 131, MATH 131, Intermediate Algebra, 4 units, and you're great. Because transferable and non-transferable courses have to be put on the planner and the November app. The other reason you do the planner, the UC reps also, all of them at least one day, if not 2 or 3 days, are here in the Transfer Center. They can pull up your planner. That makes it real easy because everything's right there. They can advise you in 10 seconds once they see your planner. The planner will also do, I need to mention this, it shows you 3 GPAs. The only GPA I want you to look at, the UC approved course GPA. And it's not the one they highlight. I don't know why. Yeah, there's 3. There's UC GPA, non-transferable GPA, then overall GPA. I want you to look at the UC GPA. That's the one that counts. Any other questions? All right, I think we made it through fairly well. I still want to go backwards and make sure I didn't miss a slide because I feel like the Santa Cruz one was right here. Oh, there it is. Santa Cruz. I skipped over it. This is just for economics, but they put all their majors on their website as to what it takes for the tag. You have to have for the tag 3.4, macroeconomics, be greater or better, 5A, 5B, greater or better. You do that, you have a guarantee. Plain and simple. And many times they do use this course requirements for regular admission. Can you get in without both semesters of calculus? Maybe. You should still apply regularly, but you don't qualify for the tag if you only have 5A done by the end of spring next year. And you guys know all the major prep simply needs to be done by the end of spring 18, not at the time of writing the tag. And please visit these schools. They're all very different environments. Even though Berkeley's world famous, it's not my favorite environment. The inner city's a bit busy for me. Santa Cruz, I hope you like trees. That's what you're going to be in for. And some people love it. They think it's the greatest thing in the whole world. So make sure you like the environment on campus, visit these places. Very important when you're making your final decision. All right, thanks so much. Do appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And again, please come by 11 o'clock until closing, 5 days a week. We'll answer your questions.